Today I'm going to install a new studio light, and I've been using these wood clamps that I make myself. They're a lot less expensive than store-bought, and I'm going to show you how to make them. Here's a diagram of my super clamp, and it's not quite to scale. This is the pole that it clamps to, and this is the hinge. And it's an open hinge. It's just held in there by pressure. This is the lamp that I'm going to use. I actually found this at a thrift store. And the way these work is they're attached to a pole, like on this little tripod here. And they slide in here like that. And then you tighten this thumb screw. And you can put them this way, vertically, or you can put them this way, horizontally. And then they have an adjustment here so you can tilt them back and forth. And that's so, but I need a clamp. And that clamp here is going to have this fitting here, is this fitting. And these can be purchased at photo shops, and I got them on Amazon. You can buy them in packages, maybe even 5 at a time, and sometimes they include these. Other photo lighting equipment, like this little light here, they have a hot shoe, and this hot shoe needs this type of a holder, and then you can tighten them to keep them on there. And so these hot shoes can also be attached in place of this or on top of this. The first thing I need to do is mark my little piece of plywood here. And I'm just going to eyeball it because there's going to be some cutting to do here. And I'm actually going to mark it twice. And that's because I'm going to actually remove wood to make that space there. I want there to be enough room for this, for one part, to rock a little bit. Okay. The pole is 1 inch. Okay. And so I'm just going to mark where I need to drill the hole. The center of the pole needs to be here. It's going to be 1 inch. I'm going to leave about 3/8 of an inch over here, so the centers were right about here where I marked it. And I'll take that over to the drill press, and I'm going to use a hole saw, but I think a Forstner bit would probably work just fine. The pivot point over here has to be about the size of a nickel. This is a little large, but I think it'll work. And I'm going to mark that right here. And it's just going to make a hinge. My bandsaw has a 3/8 blade on it, so it can't cut very square corners. You can also do this on a jigsaw. It would probably work just as well. This is the little block I marked, and I'm going to drill a little hole, a 1 inch hole, using this little hole saw. I've got a piece of wood there, and I'm going to set the depth so that it's only going to punch through to the other side, and then I'll finish it on the other side, flip it over and finish it on the other side. And so this block is large enough for me to hold safely, so this shouldn't be a problem. And it's going to get noisy. there's my hole. Here I am at the bandsaw, and I have a 1/4-inch blade, but I can't cut very sharp corners. So I'm going to make a large curve here and try to maybe stay on the inside of the curve to make it a little bit smaller. This is a 1/4-inch blade, and this is a 14-inch bandsaw. Here we go. I already marked the other shapes that I'm going to cut, so I'm going to go ahead and start on this side and then cut this one. I'm going to cut on this side because this side's a little bit thicker than this one, and that'll give it a little bit more room to pivot because it needs to be able to pivot, and right now it hardly has enough room. So, now we can pivot a lot better. Now the only thing left to do is round over these corners and clean up this edge. I need to drill a hole through this. I put the socket in here to maintain the spacing I need. And I'm going to drill a hole. And that hole is going to be, if this is center, I'm going to be a little bit off center. I'm going to be closer to the socket than to the pivot point. And that'll put a little bit more pressure on this side. So I'm going to mark across here where I'm going to put it. There's 3 dark stripes, so I'm going to put it on the center dark stripe right about there. And this one's a little noisy. I can't drill all the way through, so I just made a mark and I'll finish drilling that the rest of the way. Okay, one more thing. This hole here has to be large enough to allow it to swivel. So when it goes through here, it has to have extra room so it can swivel slightly. And this bit is a little bit larger than a 1/4 inch, 17/64. And I'm also going to tilt it a little bit. So I'm going to put it so it goes through kind of crooked, you might say. There we go. Now it should be able to swivel slightly, and that'll work better. Now, a little assembly. I'm ready to start gluing things together. This is my 2-part epoxy, and I need to stir that for about a minute. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is this is the big wobbly part, and this is the straight 1/4 inch hole. I'm going to put a little bit of epoxy in here, and that's so that it will not turn once I get it in there. And I put the washer on here to keep from getting epoxy on the other threads. Okay, and I just need to get some right there. Then I also try to get some epoxy down in this hole, but I may not be able to do it. Oh yeah, it went in there. And that's just to get a little bit of a coat on there. Maybe it'll grab a little better. Okay. And so what I want to do is I want to push this piece in here. Okay. And I know I got a little bit of epoxy on the threads, so I'll clean that off, wipe it off. I'll also use a little bit of rubbing alcohol on this rag. And while the epoxy is wet, rubbing alcohol will remove it. And then I'm going to start the thread on my wing nut here. There it goes. And I don't want to thread it any more than I need to. And then I'm going to grab this one just to line it up a little bit. And I'm going to let that set for about 30 minutes. I'm ready to put up my super clamp. All I got to do is wrap it around the pole, take my wing nut, tighten it down securely, take my new floodlight and slip it on there, tighten the thumb screw. We're ready for the next big production. But I think that should work great. And it's easy to adjust. I can slide it up and down if I need to. And I can put it on horizontally also if I need to go to swivel it sideways. This is going to be a great addition to the shop for making videos. I hope you found this information useful. If you like the video, click on like. If you're not a subscriber, click on subscribe. If you're not a member of YouTube, sign up for an account. It's quick, it's easy. And you'll be notified of each new video as it becomes available. If you have comments, let me know what you think. If you've got any ideas of what you would like to see, things you're interested in, by all means, leave me a comment. Until next time, take care.